Well, it seems, boys and girls, that Keir Starmer has had to swallow, shall we say, a very bitter pill and has to back down from his firm stance, as I'm sure he'd like to call it, on welfare reforms, just when of course he promised there'd be no more compromises. But since then, rumours have been swirling around that he's kind of given in to his rebellious MPs and is costing us taxpayers a whopping £3 billion. I mean, talk about a climb down or another bally dancing U-turn. The ones, of course, that he is famous for. I mean, what is it, 13 or 14 now he's done of them. But this move apparently is going to cut a significant chunk from the original savings planned for his benefits cuts, leaving Rachel Reeves with a big financial gap to plug in the upcoming autumn budget. And no surprises, but I'm guessing she more than likely will extend the fiscal drag, which of course is something no one wants. If she does do that, then all I've got to say to her is, well, thank you, Rachel, very much. Read between the lines. But what's he going to do then? Well, apparently one of the changes is a pledge that no one currently receiving the Personal Independence Payment PIP will be affected. The new rules will only apply to future applicants, which would trim £1.5 to £2 billion from the planned savings of £4.6 billion. But of course, there is more to this. The changes to the disability top-up for universal credit will also only hit new applicants, potentially adding a £1 billion to the financial burden by 2029. And of course, don't get me wrong, I know there are people who are quite vulnerable and need to be on these benefits. However, unfortunately, there will be one or two, shall we say, which shouldn't really be on them. But to add fuel to the fire, the Prime Minister has agreed to a review of the disability benefit entitlement led by Stephen Trimms, which will now apparently include disability activist groups. So who knows how that will pan out, eh? But one hard-left MP isn't buying this massive concessions talk, though. Abashina Begum, no relation I hope, who was suspended from the Labour Party before her election, called the concessions tiny, probably like something like Keir Starmer himself perhaps, eh? And insisted that disabled people are still being harmed by the government's plans. But of course, Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride isn't pulling any punches either. He's calling this another U-turn from a weak Labour government and says it's a completely unfunded spending commitment that will hit taxpayers the hardest. And he is right, isn't he? It just makes me wonder if the tables were turned and Labour was in power, if they would have said the same thing. Keir Starmer's struggle, though, to control the welfare spending is expected to hit the highest taxes and families across the country, and the Prime Minister was apparently on the brink of a major defeat, with over 120 Labour MPs ready to shoot down the bill. But after these concessions, I'm betting they'll all be jumping aboard. Which makes me wonder, actually, is Keir Starmer putting his own premiership or time in Downing Street or whatever you want to call it above the cuts that he says he needs to make? Adding, of course, to the tax burden for all of us. It wouldn't strike me as that he isn't, eh? Of course, remember that originally the plan was to make it tougher to claim PIP, affecting 800,000 people and reducing the average annual payments by £4,500. And Lucy Powell, the leader of the Commons, insisted that the vote would still go ahead despite the internal turmoil. And number 10, get this, didn't even deny the concessions. And both Sir Keir and Miss Reeves assured everyone that they were listening to concerns. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. Thank you very much, Keir. But he did emphasise the need for reform and Labour's values. It makes me wonder what they are. Probably something to do with the EU. And of course, their future Labour voters coming in from the safe country of France, I'm betting. But anyway, their Labour values of fairness and encourage the conversation apparently to continue in the coming days. And he did stress apparently the importance of addressing the welfare system urgently, as British people deserve the protection and dignity when they can't work and support when they can. And ministers also pointed out that the welfare bill is swelling with 1,000 successful PIP claims every day. It's just absolutely crazy, that amount, isn't it? I mean, it just seems like nowadays people aren't happy unless they got some sort of condition or even letters after their name, if you know what I mean. And get this, spending on working age disability and incapacity benefits is being £70 billion a year. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy, isn't it? You'd have never thought that would ever hit that in the olden days, would you? But just what they all said about it. Well, Labour MP Rachel Maskell urged the government to axe the bill. She said, We have spoken to our constituents and organisations representing disabled people who reject the bill because it will cause harm to disabled people and their voices have not been heard. Another Labour backbencher, Emma Lewell, said, "Cutting benefits will not incentivise people to go out and find a job that doesn't exist." She said the government has failed to publish assessments showing how changes would affect people. But Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch said that Keir Starmer, not calling you sir, faced the fight of his life and said welfare spending was out of control. She said our country is living beyond its means. We are representing more than we're earning, and it means the cost of living crisis for working people is getting worse and worse. A Conservative leader told the British Chambers of Commerce conference. And that is a very good point, isn't it? We are in the middle of a cost of living crisis. So, of course, the last thing we need is a tax increase or a delay of the fiscal drag. But unfortunately, it does kind of at this point look all but certain. But anyway, what do you think about this? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll be back very soon with some more videos. So make sure you click the subscribe button down there so you don't miss my next one.